Thank you to Franny P for this suggestion. It's the exact sort of thing that I want to crack into here. And we've had a couple of attempts. I will figure out a way to formalize this, but I want to figure out what someone is thinking, what they're honestly thinking when they're talking about when they decide they're going to vote for MAGA politicians, when they're going to vote for Trump. Because I'll tell you, going into this, having seen nothing but the thumbnail and the first frame and the title, I don't have a firm understanding. It makes me nervous. That's 74 million voters I don't really understand. I do think that they, if I had to guess, I think they see destruction in Trump, and that is what they want. I think they literally want to tear down what America is. And truth be told, I don't blame them for having that instinct. I do not. I just think the sad irony is that they don't realize we're already in the gutter. And if we tear down what little we have, that's only going to make it harder for us to rise up out of it. And it's going to make their lives harder, not easier. So let's see if somebody, a former Trump supporter, has realized that. Probably not, but the heart goes on hoping.
Hi, I'm Bruce. I'm a registered Republican, live in the state of Ohio, have all my life. I spent 13 years in the Marine Corps Reserves. I spent 32 years as a union millwright in the building trades of Ohio. I like people that are straight talking, say what you do what you say. That's who I thought I was voting for. You always complain that politicians lie. You have lied to us the entire time you've been in office. Your first example of lying to us, and I have several, obviously everybody knows it, was your taxes. Every president in modern history has submitted their taxes, and you told us you would when your audit was complete. We had no reason to doubt you. Why would we doubt you? Every president has turned over his taxes, even the people running for office. Mr. President, you took your taxes all the way to the Supreme Court, and there's a grand jury investigation right now into some of your business transactions, and you've again appealed that. You've continued to lie to us. What do you have to hide?
Okay. First of all, calling out a mistake I made in this very segment. There really is no such thing as a generic Trump supporter. When there's 74 million of somebody, you can't just say there is the standard whatever of them. Hell, when there's 10 million of somebody, when there's 1 million of somebody, there's really not a generic version of that person anymore. I'll say this is the kind of guy that I was hoping most MAGA folks would have turned out to be. But he is also the kind of guy that I know most MAGA folks have not turned out to be. That is to say, actually following what this guy's doing, actually caring about the words he said, and not the wink behind them. He said he would turn over his taxes. I'm surprised that's even still part of the conversation. Of course he didn't, because the man is a liar. This guy is acknowledging that. He's recognizing that. Good. I genuinely wonder if he's being honest right here. Was this really one of the reasons? Was it as simple as all that? Probably. Maybe he is. I don't see any reason for him to fib in this moment. And then I guess my question would be, to make this productive, how do we get more people paying attention to these simple facts? I don't know. Let's let him keep going. Maybe he'll have something else that we can latch onto. Whoopsie Daisy.
Let's talk about your second lie, your inauguration. You claim it was the greatest attendance of all. It wasn't well attended. It was raining. You were not the popular choice for president. You were my choice. You won't be again. But, of course, but you continue to go on about that for years afterwards. You expect us not to believe what we see? What about Ukraine? You pressured a foreign government to help in our election. And you asked them to investigate one of our citizens. Where does that take us? Well, let's talk about the Congress and the Senate for a few minutes. I mean, the Congress subpoenaed members of his administration to testify over the impeachment. They refused to testify, even though they were subpoenaed. How does an average American say, nope, Congress subpoenaed me and I'm not going? Can you imagine if they subpoenaed us and we refused to go? We would be in jail, every one of us. None of us are above the law, but somehow the members of his administration are. Out of all the things that he's done, I don't even understand that. And I don't even hold it against Trump. I hold it against the members of Congress and the Senate. They allow this behavior.
Yes.
This is atrocious.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if this man is being honest right now. Maybe he is. And if he is, I think he is certainly not representative of a very large chunk of Trump voters. At least not the ones I've been hearing from. But what the hell? Maybe. Regardless, I think we're going to hear people doing an impression of this guy more and more and more. We've heard how much MAGA memorizes talking points in lieu of actually, MAGA voters memorize talking points in lieu of actually understanding issues. And that's not meant as an insult, but it's a harsh truth. And the reason I can say that with such confidence is because the talking points will often be contradictory. They'll say that Putin is a great man and we should trust him. And they'll also say that Trump was tough on Putin and kept him from invading Ukraine. Well, which is it? Is he a great man that should be trusted? Is he a great man that should be trusted? Or is he someone that needs to be staved off from invading Ukraine? Well, they're not actually thinking about reality. They're just trying to win in a conversation. So as it becomes embarrassing to continue being a Trump supporter, I think they're going to pretend like they had really pulled out in their hearts. I know I still had that obnoxious goddamn sticker on my car well into 2023, maybe early 2024. But in my heart, I had stopped being a Trump supporter a couple years back, right around the time that my talking points come from. They're going to start memorizing these things, and that's what the dismount is going to look like. That's going to be people leaving the whorehouse saying, I was just going in for a massage, and I was shocked to find out that this Thai massage parlor that was open at 2 a.m. was doing something other than masseuring. We're going to see a lot more of that. Again, whether this guy is the genuine article or not, I think we're going to see a lot of people talking just like him in the near future.
The biggest lie you told us was about the virus. My God, you said it was 5 times more deadly than the flu, extremely more contagious, and asymptomatic. You knew that February 7th, and you did nothing. You didn't call on our great companies in this country to make masks, make all our PPE that we required. Oh, eventually you did. But I know from being in the industry, you don't just get that equipment overnight. It takes planning. It takes process. It takes leadership, of which you have none. You've led, but only for your own personal self-interest. And Mr. President, as of today, there's 195,000 people dead in 6 months. 6 months! My God, we lost 406,000 people.
Wow, did we blow past that? Huh? So this is a guy from way back when, clearly. Really disappointed that it's not a modern MAGA person. But I'll tell you, I have a feeling somebody sounding just like this is going to crop up here and there and then everywhere. I think we're seeing stuff like this more often for two reasons. Number one, because you are going to hear it more often because it is becoming exhausting, if you're a Trump supporter, to keep up with all of the nonsense that you have to memorize for this guy to not be a criminal. Oh, the documents, he had a right to declassify them, but it was just a newspaper anyway, and also he didn't actually RAPE Eugene Carroll, because in New York, with their laws, just forcing your fingers inside someone it doesn't constitute that particular charge. That's just sexual assault. It's going to get harder and harder and more embarrassing. And frankly, it's just going to be more and more tiring. And their problems still have not gone away. That whole tearing down of things didn't help all that much. They got 4 years of it. And they're worse off. So, I think we're going to hear more like this guy, even though this is an old clip that is playing on a relatively new channel. I think there's value in it because I think these sorts of talking points are going to circulate around as the dismount for Trump.
World War II, a war that lasted 4 years and covered the entire world. And we lost 190-some thousand Americans already. You failed to acknowledge the fact that we were at war with this virus. So, but there's no agenda going into 2021. Where is his plan? What are his proposals?
Jesus.
More of the same? More of the same lies? More driving us further and further into debt? More and more tax breaks for the wealthy?
Boom.
Where are we going? It's the party of Trump now. It's not Republicans. Is there any other thing they've done in the last 4 years other than cut taxes for the wealthy?
I have talked about this from the jump. So let's talk about it on the other side. One angle where we can work with MAGA, and by the way, this is why it's important not to lie to them. Don't pretend like we're pals, because we're not pals. We are mortal enemies. In all things but a few. So if you're honest with them about that, they'll trust that you're honest with them about this. Neither of us, by which I mean leftists and the MAGA folks, neither of us are pleased with tax breaks for the wealthy. Yes, I realize there are going to be some MAGA folks that think it's great because they haven't even scratched the surface of how that works. They just heard Tim Pool say it or whatever. But by and large, the ideology being a populist ideology doesn't take kindly to rich people getting away with stuff that the rest of us don't get to get away with. That's why messaging like this is so important. Rep. Jim Jordan trying to tap into the populism and finding it doesn't work. Remember, says Jim Jordan, if the FBI can do it to a presidential candidate, they can do it to you too. Representative Nadler, having learned from the last 5 years. Absolutely correct, Mr. Chairman. Anyone in this country who steals classified documents and then lies repeatedly to the government about returning them will probably get a visit from the FBI. Yeah. That's how to address this stuff. And truth be told, I don't think you could ask for a better time in our country's history, short of immediately following the Great Depression, for chopping down these billionaires. So what do I think of that clip from, what was it, 2020? Okay. Of a Republican dissatisfied with MAGA. I think that's incredibly useful for hearing or for understanding the kinds of things that we are going to be hearing from MAGA as they look for the out, as they just get too tired of making excuses for the same freaking guy. Well, they got their own problems that have not gone away. They gave him a bite at the apple. Some of them voted to give him 2 bites at the apple. What did they get? A whole bunch of them went to prison on his behalf. Literally, a whole bunch of them lost their freedom for him. Some of them died for him. And what did he give them? Nothing. A whole lot of them lost family. And when they are trying to get that family back, they will try to keep their dignity. They will not, from what I've seen, have the humility to say, I was wrong, I was lied to, and I fell for it. I respect the hell out of people that have the balls to admit fault like that. Most of these folks won't. Regular folks have a real hard time doing that at all. And in doing something where people actually got hurt, admitting responsibility for that, that's a hard thing. So what will they do? I expect to see a whole lot of this. What they're familiar with, memorizing talking points. What can you do? Provide them with the talking points they need. Circulate through your social media reasons that you feel MAGA was let down by Trump. I get why you liked him, you could say, because he was talking real bad about billionaires and how corrupt the system was for billionaires. But then what did he do? He made more billionaires by making way more people dirt poor. He stole from you harder. That's what he did. He made his friends rich at the expense of you and your family. That's what he did. He gave Jared Kushner the ability to sell out America for a silly business deal where Kushner got, what was it, $3-4 billion for a garbage piece of property. Provide them talking points. Keep them short. Keep them easy to memorize. Make it so that you can understand it entirely through and through in one sentence. Provide those so that when people want to leave, they can express they can do so with, a complimentary mint at the door. The ability to express why they are leaving, other than to say, I don't know, I didn't know what I was doing then, I don't really know what I'm doing now, I just know this guy is insane and I'm sick of dealing with him. That's going to be too much. So give him something with a little more dignity. Links in description if you want to look over that video.